Well, that was fast. Drake Maye. I told you last episode, hey, it's coming. The window's open. It could be 2 weeks from now. It could be 3 weeks from now. It could be 4, but it's coming soon. Yeah, Callahan, newsflash. It's coming Sunday. Drake Maye is here. And look, if you have been listening the last few weeks, you know I have been on the sit the kid, keep him away from the worst pass blocking offensive line, not only in the league, not only that I've ever seen, but historically, according to ESPN, would finish as the worst pass protecting offensive line since at least 2006. I'm still excited to see Drake Maye. Look, I made my thoughts clear. The Patriots are going in a different direction. When the news broke Tuesday, as I was literally in the middle of a jog, running around, something I think Drake is probably going to do a whole lot of against the Texans, I sent out a lot of texts, made some calls, either to folks in the locker room, in the organization, couple outside the league being like, hey, what do you make of this? And just wrap my arms around something that, I thought was going to come in a couple of weeks. It was always inevitable. They were going to play Drake this season. But why now? What's happening? And I wrote a column stating again that opinion. I think they're rushing him into this. And this is not, an issue where everyone's on one side or the other. Dan Orlovsky, Mina Kimes, even Tom Brady last time we heard from him is saying the same thing I am. Just wait, be patient. It's not going to happen. So why is it happening now? Well, in speaking with people who were, let's say, very close to what's going on here, the deal is this. Last time you saw Drake Maye, they said to me, he was pushing Jacoby for the starting job. He was better the last 2 weeks of camp and in the preseason than Jacoby was. Since then, Drake has only gotten better. And yes, it's only practice. But understanding they were going to play him anyway, they looked at this game and said, well, we might as well do it now. Because the last 3 weeks, Jacoby has been actively hurting them on offense. And the fact that those two happened together coincided with the schedule. In my opinion, based on things that I've heard, observed, and kind of pieced together, did expedite the plan a little bit. But the plan was not like week 7. It wasn't week 4. It was he's going to play sooner rather than later. When that is will be determined by how Jacoby plays and how Drake practices. Jacoby played bad. Drake practiced great. Here we are. They made the switch. And when I pushed back and said, okay, could you have just not picked a team with Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson on the edges, again, working against your offensive line, the worst in the league? They said, honestly, we don't really care that much about the opponent. It's more about him and playing. And the fact that we're at home, in their eyes, I know this for a fact, really helped too. Which, again, to me, if I'm running the team, I care less about the geographic location than the team actually on the other side, who's going to give us a lot of problems. And DeMeco Ryans is a really good defensive head coach. They see it differently. The die is cast. They've come up with Drake Maye. So there's more intel in that column if you haven't read it from Tuesday. But there's background in there, as we just talked about now, of why they're doing this now, how Drake has gotten better specifically with the footwork, playbook mastery, and he's been better against pressure. Alex Van Pella actually today, I know everyone's favorite offensive coordinator right now, who I've been plenty critical of, said that Drake started a good on good, meaning starting offense, starting defense period, where it was all about the blitz, which also tells you they think Houston's going to bring a lot of pressure. Drake Maye was 6 for 6, quote, in his decisions in that period, meaning he did the right thing every single time. So yes, that is more coming from the coaches. And I would trust a lot more of what I've heard privately over the phone and via text than what coaches are going to say publicly. They're never going to bash their own guys, but there's a lot of overlap there. So that's what I know. That's what I've learned. That's what we're going to go with moving forward. And the Patriots are going to go with Drake Maye. And hopefully he survives the last 12 games because this is a lot of the season left to go. But that's where they're at. They think he can do it. They believe that much in him. And that's why I started that column going, hey, if you remember, 5 hours, and this is from Hard Knocks, revealed this. 5 hours before Elliott Wolf drafted Drake Maye, he turned down an offer with multiple first-round picks and other selections from the Giants. The Vikings also made an offer like that. Remember, the Giants were just a pick 6. So you're going back 3 spots for a first-round pick and more from a team you know is going to stink next year. They said no. The Patriots were smitten with Drake Maye. They are smitten with Drake Maye. And everyone has fallen out of love with the Jacoby Brissett experience. You want to know why Drake Maye is starting on Sunday? That's it right there. It's not about the opponent. It's got a little bit to do with the fact that they're at home, but the fact that they're just ready and they've been wanting to do this. And Jacoby Brissett's play as of late gave them a reason why. Okay, so we're going to talk a lot more Drake Maye with Fitzy. Coming up after that, Kendrick Bourne, the best 4-minute drill we've ever had in this podcast. He was, again, out of 10 right from the get-go. Just what you see is what you get with that dude. You are going to experience it if you haven't yet. And he's been on the pod before, but this was different. Aside from that, I want to remind you, we have a lot of folks who support this podcast. Among them is Prize Picks. And so whether the Patriots are winning or losing on Sunday, you can win at home by playing Prize Picks. And this is how it works. Go to prizepicks.com or you download the Prize Picks app today. And so I've sent all of my friends who come ask and listen to this podcast. You look at different stat projections for different players and you go more or less. And if you make as little as 4 correct picks, you can win up to 100 times your money. And if you sign up today, which is a $5 deposit, you get $50 instantly with code CLNS. You don't even need to win your $5 deposit. You get $50 in bonus if you download Prize Picks today and use code CLNS. This could be for CJ Stroud to have fewer than this amount of yards. It could be Drake Maye, more than 25.5 rushing yards. Whatever it is, just player stat projections more or less, and you string them together. Even if one of those players gets injured, your picks are still good. That's the injury insurance you'll find at Prize Picks and not in other places. So download Prize Picks today with the app. Use code CLNS. Again, CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, Prize Picks, run your game. Time for my Prize Picks picks of the week. Full disclosure, when you include the basically automatic pick of Caleb Williams, more or less than half a passing yard, I'm still only 6-7 on the season. Like the Patriots, we're off to a little slow start here. Here's the thing. There were 2 squares that I saw for Pat's Texans where I'm not using my own money, but I want to give you the best advice that I can. And again, as I always say, if you want to do the opposite, go ahead, George Costanza. Joey Sly, more than 5 points. Seems like a layup here. If the Patriots lose 40-6 to Houston, you still win because Joey Sly made 2 field goals, as he should have against Miami when he made a 38-yarder and missed a 33-yarder. This is it. Even if they stink in the red zone, or if they get 3 touchdowns and 1 field goal, you still make it. So Joey Sly more than 5 kicking points. The other one that I have here, which I think is just, it's there. It's easy. Stephon Diggs, less than 62.5 receiving yards. I think he's going to get the Christian Gonzalez treatment. Tyreek Hill can't get more than 3 catches on Christian Gonzalez in a game. Stephon Diggs, who doesn't have Nico Collins opposite him now, by the way, I don't think is going to clear that mark, with Christian Gonzalez probably shouting him all the way across the field. So I'm going Joey Sly more than 5 kicking points. I am going Stephon Diggs less than 62.5 receiving yards. So that's it. Here comes Fitzy from WEEI. After that, Kendrick Bourne. And again, if you have a minute, which this episode is more than an hour long, so I know you do, to rate and review, it really helps us. Okay? Apple, Spotify, 5 stars. You can email me. You can leave a review. Any kind of feedback is good. We're rolling here mid-season. There's going to be a lot more topics, a lot of stuff to dive into with Drake Maye, as we do here with Fitzy. If you like what you hear, let us know. Apple, Spotify, 5-star rating and a review, or email me, Callahan@Boston Herald. Okay, here comes Fitzy and Kendrick Bourne. So a week ago, I text our next guest and said, hey, man, we need some good vibes in here. You are captain of the good vibes. Even at then at 1-3, they go 1-4. But what happened next was the ultimate vibe. Drake Maye in. Jacoby Brissett, sorry, pal, you're out. And I have to say, I don't think it's an accident, Fitzy, that this change is made right before you come on the podcast after another bad Patriots loss, because I don't know if there's been a fan base happier at 1-4 to see the new fresh-faced 22-year-old franchise quarterback finally playing on Sunday. Thank you from that Patriots nation of which you lead back to its leader, Nick Fitzy.
You ask for good vibes, Patriots nation. I give you Drake Maye. That's right. The mayhem is here. The mania has arrived. May Day is officially Sunday, October 13th, 2024. And I got to tell you, as somebody who remains constantly plugged in to the Patriots people and the Foxboro faithful, I'm not saying that we're back, but Callahan, I'm thinking we're back.
I think you had it right.
We're not back to where we were. Okay, we're not back to like. Yeah, I'm not saying we're back, but I'm thinking we're back. All right, we're back-ish. Can I at least get back adjacent? Can I get? Okay, fine. We are back adjacent at this point.
Yeah, we're like oblique. How's that?
Okay, fair enough. Yes, because if just what I can see initially on social media, let alone what I've heard from fans in the lots and ever since the switch was made. Sure, there's still a bunch of, Belichick rump swabs and Bill super fans that are just going to go like, it doesn't matter. Mayo should get fired. You're going to get the kid killed. It's going to be awesome to see him on IR by week 9, blah, blah, blah. The rest of everybody who still actually has a little joy or room for joy in their heart is so excited to have just some buzz back, a little hope. Like you're heading into a game Sunday, not already resigned to your fate. Because, even if the Patriots win with Jacoby Brissett, or if they were to win, and they did it but once, and they couldn't and should have done it probably at least 2, if not maybe 3 other times, it wasn't going to be pretty. It wasn't even really going to be that fun. But you'd walk away saying, hey, I can't believe they did that. It was okay at absolute best. Now, there's going to be a much lower floor at times. You have no idea how high the ceiling is going to be, but it's going to be miles above what you saw for the first 5 weeks. And basically the product that the Patriots were trotting out every week was untenable. There was just no way to possibly continue to bring out that torpid slog of an offense and say, this is the best thing that we can offer you. I know you got more back in the kitchen. Come on. No. The kitchen's not closed. Come on. I know you got more than this dried up turkey sandwich. Let's go.
I feel like you just dumped half a thesaurus on us. Torpid. I never.
One of my favorite words. One of my all-time favorite words.
It's a good one. Here's the thing. We just started talking before we started recording and realized we were doing a show and said, okay, we need to stop. And the next question I would have asked you is the first one I have here today, because I don't know the answer to this question, even though folks can listen to you on the EEI's Six Rings and Things podcast and obviously follow you everywhere, which they should. What did you think of the timing? 5 games in, Drake Maye starting here at home against the Houston Texans.
If anybody with the New England Patriots dares to tell me this was the plan all along, I'll tell them they're so full of ish, their eyes are brown. And after that, I expect them to sell me a bridge that spans Plymouth to Sagamore or across the East River in Manhattan, because it's horse crap. There's zero chance this was ever the plan. Is the timing suspect? Absolutely. But can you make sense of this timeline? Or for people that don't necessarily love them, but at least sat through the more recent Marvel movies and understand what alternate timelines and multiverses are, they had a different timeline in mind. However, Elliott Wolf and his Cleveland Packers / Green Bay Browns plan of trying to let Drake Maye incubate for as long as possible, Robert Kraft, the entire organization trying to let them go about their business without any advisory or heavy-handedness. Gerard Mayo coming on EEI every Monday and saying like they reviewed the tape and Jacoby gives them the best chance to win. And Alex Van Pelt saying the best thing this kid can do is sit. All of them are wrong. They couldn't sit. They couldn't do it anymore. They could not possibly do it anymore because Jacoby Brissett, through his own will of wanting to be turnover averse and hold on to the ball and be very meticulous and methodical about it, along with the fact that the early returns on this line gave him PTSD, post-traumatic sack disorder, because he was the most hit quarterback in the NFL, the most pressured quarterback in the NFL. And there's a reason why teams have blitzed the Patriots at the highest rate by far in the NFL this year, doubling and if not at times tripling their usual blitz rate. It's because you could get home and you know that you could make him hesitate. So now they have no choice but to start Drake Maye. Would Miami have made more sense because that was a winnable game? Absolutely. That game was in hand. The game that most people are now calling the worst NFL game ever played. Yes, it was there for them. Would it have made more sense on the road against Jacksonville, who either you or I could probably go for 310 and 2 tutties against because their pass defense is so bad? Yes. Maybe the Jets because he got his toes dipped, in the River Styx against the Jets a few weeks ago. All of those would have made more, or just wait till the Rams game in late November if the product was watchable.
Well,
but
what would you have done? Like, is more my question. Like, I think that's an accurate retelling. I think it's a totally fair assessment. But like Coach Fitzy, you get the call Monday night. Gerard says, "I'm about to call both quarterbacks. What should I tell them?" What's your answer?
Jacoby, you don't guts to go home, but you can't stay here anymore, man.
Okay, so you made this time's up. You were thumbs up to the time.
Absolutely, okay. Absolutely. Just like I think and honestly, the death blow. Like, first of all, when your Boston Herald partner in crime, Doug Kyde, who's easily the most rational, level-headed of all the beat guys, of everybody that covers the Patriots and is heavily invested in the Boston sports scene, says on his podcast with Michael Hurley, sorry, time's up. You have to start Drake Maye. When Doug Kyde, who has never met a hot take that he's embraced or even like parked his car near, says it's time to start Drake Maye, then there's a good chance it's time to start Drake Maye. You would have had to have done the same thing. You can't. Jacoby Brissett we've reached peak Brissett.
So I don't want to spend much time on this because we have a lot of stuff to come up with Maye and both the Texans. And I said this in the previously recorded intro, is just to say my stance all along has been, can we just do better than the worst pass protection in the league? Can we have an offense that understands who needs to be out there and who's doing what? Because you know as well as I do, the first 4-5 weeks, the answer was, no, we can't. We can't do better than that. We don't know who we're going to play. And things have started to settle, as weird as it was on Sunday, around Jacoby Brissett. More outside zone running game. Kendrick Bourne's back. Hey, we're playing through 2 tight ends and it's working. But, and then we finally get targets for Pop Douglas at the end. I would have liked to have seen them flesh out some more answers. I'm not hung up on this. I might have been open to them starting Maye against Jacksonville. And again, have said my piece. I was just curious on your end because I think there are more people who are of that ilk, Doug, yourself, others, obviously Gerard Mayo. And then you have the other like, no, Dan Orlovsky, Mina Kimes, Tom Brady, last time we heard from him of like, this is
the worst thing that I've ever seen. Giardi went off on EEI this week as well. I'm sure Tom Curran is probably taking blood pressure medication as we speak right now, dealing with this because he thought that Mayo and the company wanted to sit him the entire season. If the Patriots had their druthers, he wouldn't have seen the field, a la not even Mahomes in a more Jordan Love or Aaron Rodgers capacity, because that's where Elliott Wolf was healed. Well, guess what? In those particular situations, you had more talent on your roster and a future Hall of Fame quarterback ahead of Rodgers and ultimately Jordan Love. In this place, you have a journeyman who's on his second stint in Foxboro, who just doesn't have the zip zam that you need to play. Like, he can't move the same way anymore. The guy looked, come on, everyone felt too terribly for him playing. We all thought he was going to get myrtleized. And he moved around the pocket like an 87-year-old guy getting out of his armchair to grab his walker to make his way to the toilet. It was miserable. I felt so badly for him. And I was going to say, the death knell was that final throw. Like, I don't care. You got to find Polk. You got to take a chance. You got to take a chance on Douglas at the 2 and just let him try to make a football move. You don't give it to a double-covered Hunter Henry at the 12 with 2 seconds left. Sorry.
Well, so the news broke Tuesday afternoon. Off day for players, off day for media until news breaks. And there's been about 48 hours since then to kind of sit with this. And there's the initial like, holy shit, it's happening. Like, here we go. The Michael Scott gift, it's happening. Here we go.
Yeah. And then oh my God. Yeah. And you're like, I bet you're going for a run. And then you hear the breaking news and you're like, shit, I got to go back and write a column.
It was in a draft of my column that I posted after with some intel in there. I think I kept it at the bottom. I was literally going for a run when that happened. Or at the end of it, literally happened. Stopped in my tracks. So the reason I bring that up though is you get to sleep on it once, right? Tuesday night. You get to sleep on it again Wednesday night. And as someone who consumes a lot of their thoughts and time with the Patriots, how differently, if at all, do you feel now, 2 days later, digesting this, hearing from Maye, hearing from Mayo, hearing from AVP about the decision?
Look, I know this is not an optimal opponent for him to be going up against with one of the best pass rushes and maybe the best pass rusher in the NFL right now, maybe the ascending best pass rusher in second-year player Will Anderson, and the best in Danielle Hunter, who has the most QB pressures in the league. I saw what they did. They ate Josh Allen's lunch right in front of him last week and then threw the empty bag back at him and told him to clean up the mess. Like, they're
9 completions. 9.
They're 9, Mrs. Bueller, 9 completions. Wouldn't be surprised. Kind of like a couple of years ago, like in that AFC Championship where Mahomes faltered in the second half against Cincy and they punched their ticket to the Super Bowl, or on that Christmas Day game when Jair Alexander couldn't stop picking off passes from Tua. In both of those games, I think with hindsight being what it is, we probably should have seen those quarterbacks pulled for head trauma. And the same with Josh Allen. Like, maybe he wasn't feeling it the rest of that game as well because none of the balls were where they needed to be. The play calling was very suspect as well. They were all out of sorts. I'm fine with this. Like, he's not going to get like beat up to the point where he's taken hits before. He's got 3 older brothers. He's used to getting his ass handed to him on a regular basis. And I'm not advocating for or saying that the violence that he's going to deal with is going to be it will be acceptable, Callahan. But like, I'm at least excited about the game.
that his hits are just as bad as Luke Maye when Luke Maye was 16 years old. I will not be telling that.
Okay.
It's
a different kind of trauma that he'll be dealing with for sure. And the cold tub's going to feel a whole hell of a lot different Sunday and Monday.
And as I said in the open, it's not the physical punishment that bothers me. It's not. It's the accumulative effect of which I think we saw it start to break Brissett a little bit, where he's anticipating pressure, getting to the top of his drop, and there's a little hitch. Everything we saw with Mac after last year, that it's additive. And so I don't want that to happen to Drake. I don't know that it will. The line obviously is not good right now. That's more of the concern of the habits that you build when you're constantly under pressure. It's like if you go straight from war to vacation and you're waking up at 4 a.m. not because like you want to, because you just wake up and you
just don't sleep, period.
Right.
That was actually, that's a valid concern. Last week before the game, when I was waltzing about talking to fans before the kickoff of Finn's Pats, a couple of the older fans said their biggest concern about starting Maye too early was that he would end up picking up some bad habits that weren't based on trying to read defenses, process plays, and make the right read, so much as help, I got to save my life, I'm on the run. Like he'd be in self-preservation mode. But if you watch enough college tape of Drake Maye, I didn't know that he was the leader in all-purpose yards in 2022 as a 20-year-old, his first year starting at North Carolina. And a lot of those came with his feet. He was second, I guess, last year in called QB runs behind Jaden Daniels. So one of the things that I think you can look for, and he's going to have some of them are going to be called by design. Some are just going to be out of desperation. There are going to be QB runs involved in this game plan Sunday if Alex Van Pelt knows what's good for him as well. Because if you just sit him back there on 5 and 7 step drops all day long, everyone's going to look the fool for starting the kid in a game they'll say was way too early.
Yes. Last thing, and then we'll get into that game. Soak everything in. The opponent, the offensive line, the fact that you're home, all of it. What is a reasonable expectation in your mind for this kid? Like you just said, he's going to run. So when I think about that statistically, I think 2 touchdowns is reasonable expectations, because you probably get one that maybe by design, like we saw in his first preseason game. B, obviously, they're going to throw it deep. They're probably going to be behind. They'll need to throw more. That'll lend itself to more opportunities to score. At the same time, people forget his first pass attempt in the NFL hit a Jets defender in both his hands on a little stick route. So there are going to be times, not just because he's a rookie, not because he's a rookie trying to overcome a whole lot, but you saw it in that same tape you referenced in North Carolina. Like, he's going to take some chances. That's fine by me. I was in love with the kid as a prospect, as much as permissible, in this environment. And so I think 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, to answer my own question, is where I land on this, somewhere around 200 yards. Anything above that seems unreasonable to me, but anything below is like, yeah, that seems fair.
A Josh Allen stat line from last week against the Texans would be a shock. I can't see him completing less than 45% of his passes. Something in the neighborhood of 50 to 59% of his passes completed, a pick or 2, 1 passing touchdown, 1 rushing touchdown. I think that would be a spectacular debut. I don't expect Sunday, when the game is over and jerseys are being exchanged and clips are being sent to the at NFL Instagram, and people are headed out to their cars and they're having an aftergate because they don't want to sit in that god-awful traffic for 3 hours. And of course, they cannot wait to read the latest Andrew Callahan column at bostonherald.com. And of course, they are locked in to the Six Rings postgame show on WEEI. We are going to be in a celebratory frame of mind because we will have gotten a glimpse into our future. The future under center in Foxboro has arrived. And I know I sound political, like I'm working for the May campaign or something, like Vote May 2024.
Or the Patriots on Sundays.
But I put it this way. My first reaction when I heard about it was, this is supremely ironic that Drake Maye gets his first start at home. He doesn't even wear the primary uniform. He is going to be in the Pat the Patriot throwbacks in his first game ever in the NFL, let alone his first start at Gillette Stadium. That's the perfect outfit, because he's going to be running around like vintage 1979 Steve Grogan for his life, hopefully making some plays along the way. And I don't know who's back there, but I hope they have one of those Stevie Grogan neck rolls for him, because he's probably going to need it.
Can you imagine? He hit that on the head too in his press conference, as far as like easy wins. layups with the fans, best fans in the world. Boom, box check. He said that.
Mm-hmm.
And then shouted out the throwback uniforms. Like the kid just has to sit there and watch his approval rating go up because you're the 3rd overall pick. You're the fresh-faced quarterback. You're athletic and exciting. But he's handling business behind the mic for whatever little that that matters, and a hat tip to those unis.
Yeah, I hope he finishes the game, and win or lose, I hope he finishes the game. That would be a good sign. But I hope he finishes the game, showers up, talks to everybody, goes out to the parking lot, and instead of just going to lot 6 and getting in his probably souped up truck that he got at Dan O'Brien Auto or something, or Bach Automotive or something from the Auto Mile, takes a whiff of the lot and goes, hold on a second, just ambles over someplace, gets into a tailgate at 6 o'clock, gets a nice Italian sausage or some Dom steak tips and a Bud Light, and just, hangs out with the people. Like, there's no greater way to ingratiate yourself with the people than to go out there, have a nice little beer and meat summit, and then talk about the day. Like, tough one out there, kid. Yeah, the fans.
It sounds like a coded invite from you. Like, please go hang out with me.
He knows, like, I'm going to go around to like the closest 10 breweries. I'm going to like Trillium, Wormtown, all of our favorites. And I'm just going to put my card down and say, if Drake Maye ever walks in, you let him know Uncle Fitzy's first beer. That's on him for him right there. And I want to add, before we get into the game thing, I just want to say, Callahan, that it has been great to see on Instagram, on Twitter, YouTube, for the first time in years, at least 3 years since Mac Jones debuted. And I think those were half-hearted. It's great to see the people that do the Photoshops, the edits, like the hype swaps and whatnot, and also like the hype reels and whatever else, mixing pro footage and college stuff with like superhero music or hard rock. They have basically been laying dormant. They've been in hibernation the last 2+ years. They're all back. They're all back. They're all creating content again. This is great for the content engine. And I'll leave you with this. He has a chance. God, do the Patriots want to see him so badly, especially before Robert Kraft would trot out Jacoby Brissett, after having brought Mac Jones out last year in that Germany game. The international product alone, the benefit of that next week could be worth millions to the organization. Maybe now, finally, people will stop bringing their Mac Jones and Jimmy Garoppolo jerseys to the stadium with duct or electrical tape on the back with May written on it, and they'll actually go invest in a real Drake Maye jersey.
Spoken like a true company man. I like it. Here's what I would say. If you're not going to the game like Fitzy or myself, you can still get a ticket. And I can guarantee you this, you will not find a lower price than you will at Game Time, where you should go for all of your ticket needs because they have the lowest price guarantee. And I'm telling you, if you find a ticket elsewhere that's cheaper, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. I am keeping an eye on this because I got tickets for my wife and a friend who is coming to the London game next week. And that was a pretty penny, my friend. So go to Game Time, where still they have not had any lower ticket prices anywhere. And I don't think you'll find them because of Game Time Picks, which filters out all the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats. So you don't have to waste time searching for thousands of tickets. And when you want to see what your seat view looks like before you get to the stadium, good idea when you go to Fenway Park, you can do that with their seat view. All of this is at Game Time, lowest price guarantee, seat views, filter out all the fluff. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, use code CLNS for $20 in your pocket, $20 off to your first purchase. Terms do apply. You can create an account, just redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Pats games, concerts, shows, whatever. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. What's up, pal?
I love that. It was such a beautiful transition, saying like, yeah, spoken like a company man. And now it's time for my in-pod ad read. Seamless transition. Actually, I think I'm going to use the Game Time app because I am currently in the market for 4 tickets I'm taking one Sunday off of the Six Rings postgame show, taking my 11-year-old to go see, and now he's super excited that Drake Maye is starting because A, he'll actually want to watch the game. B, he'll make it past halftime. And C, I bought him a bunch of Drake Maye rookie cards. And I said, hey, root for this kid because if he turns out to be good, Dad's basically buying you a bond or a stock that should mature rather quickly. So we're going with his best friend and that guy's dad, who I'm friendly with. And we're going to Chicago to see Bears Pats. Just going to sit in the stands again like I used to, Callahan, and I cannot wait. That's going to be Williams versus Maye, dude. It's going to be awesome.
I'm just impressed that your kid knows what a bond is. Like that didn't a 10-minute explanation of like, oh, kid, this is like never mind. But
you're gonna have to meet us up for some Chicago craft beers the night before.
I will. One of my good friends, he is related to Bears royalty, Doug Buffone, longtime linebacker, right before that Super Bowl team in the mid 80s. I think led all Bears linebackers all time in interceptions, and used to be their radio analyst on game days. And so his nephew is a buddy of mine. He will be out there, so he will have a beer the night before. I definitely will have some beers, and hopefully not your 11-year-old, but maybe we can just talk stocks instead, and that'll all work out. Okay, let's get to the football. Texans are coming in. They are 4-1. Patriots, of course, 1-4. Here are the Texans rankings by DVOA. 7th overall. Okay, 21st in offense. They're 3rd in defense. 6th on special teams. Their last 4: 23-20 win versus Buffalo, 24-20 win versus Jacksonville. Got housed 34-7 at Minnesota, and then won 19-13 versus Chicago. The Patriots, of course, 1-4. They are 29th by DVOA, 30th in offense, 28th in defense. Yes, 28th in defense. But Jeremy Springer, I don't think he's single, but if he was, he would be going around Friday night to the bar saying, "My special teams are 3rd by DVOA. What's your name?" So there you go. Let's talk about when the Patriots have the ball. We just spent a lot of time about Drake Maye. Obviously, all eyes are going to be on him. I'm curious what you think, because I have a couple little wrinkles in here for you. What the offense looks like with him under center versus how we've come to know this Alex Van Pelt offense through Jacoby Brissett through 5 games.
So help me, Lord. And if I'm Jacoby Brissett, I would be just a hot stack of mad like that little red dude in the Inside Out movies. If there's motion and RPO in the offense on Sunday, I would turn to AVP and I'd be like, "Where was this? What? Huh? Oh, saving it for the kid, huh? Basically, it was just a plan to screw me, huh? Take my $8 million check and go home. Thank you very much." How does the offense look? I think it looks very different. Even though it's all from the same tree, all from the same book and plan. Will it remind you of that offense at times? Yes. I think you'll see more shotgun. I think you probably will see a little pre-snap motion. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to involve the receivers in the running game as well. Obviously, you're not going to involve your tight ends like back in the Hernandez days or something like that, where you had somebody supremely athletic. There was no mention of the FX show. There was no mention of murder in this podcast. Thank you very little. You want to get them involved, like some RPO, some jet sweep, something to just try to get Houston back on their heels for a second, because if it's plotting and predictable and you're going to let the Andersons and Hunters of the world basically just strap them on and just go from 1st to 5th on every play, then the Pats are cooked before they even kick the ball off at 1 o'clock on Sunday. So yeah, I think you'll see Drake Maye run early. You'll see him moving around. Also move the pocket. Like you're going to get Gibson involved in a lot of ways, some shovel passes, maybe. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised to see somebody else maybe throw the ball like a Kendrick Bourne. But move the pocket. Do what Charlie Weiss's greatest game that he ever called for the Patriots was Super Bowl 38, because he
I thought this was going to be as a commentator.
That he called as an OC was Super Bowl 38, because they faced that ferocious line and they had Russ Hochstein in there, and everybody thought that Brady was just going to get brutalized, and they moved the pocket all day. And on the run, he was throwing dimes and darts to Branch and Brown and Givens. So move that pocket. Do everything you can. Your offensive line is athletic. I mean, they finished last week 20th ranked in pass blocking. That's a step in the right direction-ish, if you will. They're not great, but they're not as bad as they were 4 weeks ago. And at Callahan, we may even have offensive line continuity. You may see the same starting 5 out front for 2 weeks in a row. So we got that going for us.
And based on what we've seen in practice, which I should have mentioned this sooner, Ramondre Stevenson has not practiced Wednesday or Thursday. Just hasn't even been in the locker room when the media's been there. I'm not ruling him out, but generally that means the guy's not going to play on Sunday. At best, he's a game time decision. So we'll see. It might be Antonio Gibson in there starting today. They could also replace Nick Leverett, who gave up 7 pressures as the new backup center filling in for David Andrews, which no one, you and I, whether it's on stage, it's with our hand on a football trying to snap it between our legs, or just walking into a bar. No one wants to follow our guy, David Andrews.
No.
So tough act for Nick Lever, but they could have Brian Hudson, who's a practice squad center. They signed Ben Brown today to be another center familiar with this offense to be on the roster, all of which tells me you could have a shakeup there. Again, not great to have that be Drake Maye's first start, but here we are. The point
An undrafted rookie out of Louisville at center and getting his first start at the same time that Drake Maye gets his first start. Yeah, not great, Bob.
Yeah, not guaranteed. Just saying he's been out there running a little bit here and there with the ones, and not great. So the moving the pocket thing is big to me, and it's not only just okay, boom, here's the snap, but the best thing the Patriots are doing right now offensively, which is a short list, is the under center run game. So when you talk about more shotgun, obviously that gets to the point of okay, we want to do what's best for the quarterback, but how far do you go in that direction when it encroaches on and takes away from what is good for everybody else? Understanding he's more important than any other player. But if this is the only thing we're doing well, duo, inside zone, some now outside zone runs, you want to keep that going. To which I would say, you don't have to go to shotgun. And you can move the pocket with those runs. Just run more bootleg, which Jacoby Brissett, here are the numbers, was 4 of 8 for 28 net yards, including a sack and a touchdown on these plays. That's less than 2 per game for an offense that, like, you were listening to me talk about this. Other folks were saying the same thing. It's a bootleg play action game. More of that. The only question is, was the pressure rate on those plays 66%? Because Jacoby turned around, boom, there's pressure. He can't do anything about it in a way that we've already seen Drake Maye do against the Eagles. One of his best completions, drew a pass, roughing the passer flag and got around it. Or is this because teams just have a really good lock on when the Patriots are running play action? Because I think we're going to see more downfield throws and we're going to see more bootleg plays, because that helps accomplish what you're talking about, move the pocket, get them out of pressure.
Yeah, I think it's because teams were able to quickly solve the puzzle against the Patriots offense. I think if it was a run up, here's going to be play. Actually, I'll applaud them for committing to the bit and like running student body left and running student body right, and then calling a pass on third down. Like it was high school level at times. It was so
except at the end of the first half, which Alex Van Pelt, to his credit, just went straight at it. Like Mike Reese asked him about this today, and calling Mike Reese out or detailing that is in no way calling him out. And he was like, "Oh, I know everyone at the end of the first half was like that 2nd and 2." And we're like, "Oh, Alex has been reading. He's been listening. He's heard it." Good. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm still kind of split on it, but this is what I thought we had. We had a shot play, good receiver. It didn't happen. We had an open receiver on third down, couldn't complete the pass. That's what it was." So like he's self-aware enough. It doesn't make you feel any better at home or you watching this in the stadium, but that's just where we're at.
Brings me no comfort or consolation at that point. But I agree with you that you're definitely going to see more downfield passes. You're going to have to, because look, Stroud's going to get his, okay? CJ Stroud moves around so well. He's incredibly accurate. I mean, not as accurate as Jaden Daniels, the guy taken right before Drake Maye, now leading the NFL in accuracy in an absurd sign of growth and evolution. But he also played 5 whole complete college seasons, whereas Drake Maye only played 2. So he should be further down the line. I'm sure he and Drake Maye check out athletically on a comparable level as well, but he's years ahead of him, literally as well as figuratively. So yeah, take some shots down the field. Maybe to Polk, because I keep getting told and I keep seeing analytics every week that say Polk has great separation. I don't buy into that as much as I don't buy into Vidarian Lowe being PFF's top-rated tackle last week on the offensive line as well. There's just
want to hit pause really quickly, because the Polk point is a good one. There's Fantasy Points, whose co-owner, developer, director, Joe Dolan is a friend of mine. He's been on the show. It's a complete opposite of PFF separation grades. I don't know how they happen. Some of them have GPS tracking. Next Gen Stats has Jalen Polk dead last. PFF has Jalen Polk dead last. And Fantasy Points is like, no, he's there. And they measure, separation as like, if you get a step, that's a win. It's an absolute, like you cross the threshold and you're there. I'm forgetting the term, but you get what I'm saying. There's no kind of degrees of separation here. So they're saying, oh, he's open. It's just not by miles and miles and miles, the way that, Next Gen Stats might have based on the average yards away you are from a defender at the catch point, which they don't include other routes. They should, they don't, but that's just the thing on there. Jacoby Brissett, by the way, 72 offensive grade from PFF for that last game. I almost tweeted out, oh, look at PFF's newest analyst judging Jacoby Brissett's game, and took the headshot from the media guide and put a little fake mustache on him to tweet that out. I was like, this is really salt in the wound for a guy who just lost his job. But it blew my mind to see that.
We know 72, please, Mike. 7.2 would have probably been more fair.
It's 60 is average. So that's them saying like he had a good game.
Get out of here.
And everyone else's eyeballs saying differently.
So you got to obviously more to Pop Douglas, just because if you got him, then, without trying to get him blown up, because we know it says fragile on the package that ships him to the stadium every week. Get the ball to Pop Douglas more. Your tight ends will be your tight ends. I thought they've done a pretty good job of integrating Hooper and Hunter Henry as well. Obviously he's got to be active in order to be able to make it. And I know he's had some issues. There's a maturity component, and that's why a lot of teams didn't have him on their boards. Javon Baker, who was a prime target from Drake Maye in the preseason, I don't know if he's going to be active or if he'll be involved in the game. Kayshon Boutte could be a bit of an X factor on Sunday, because he gets open and he catches the ball usually when it's thrown to him. And I also think he showed up really well on the game tape on Ramondre's 33-yard touchdown that went off tackle early. He was hustling down the field, blocking his ass off all the way down there. Like, coaches love to see someone who doesn't get as a coach of 5th and 6th grade flag football. I always tell my kids, run to the whistle and never quit on the play until you're told to do otherwise. And it's great to see him do that. And maybe he'll actually be the beneficiary. Maybe they'll establish a quick connection. We don't know who Drake Maye's. He's going to have a Binky. He's going to have a Boo out there. Is it going to be Polk? Is it going to be Douglas? Will it be Boutte? Will it be Baker? I don't know, but that's kind of one of the things I'm most excited to see.
Okay. So I told you this off air, and now's the time to spring it on you, because I've been waiting for you to use a particular word that I would love to use and infiltrate the Patriots commercial breaks that you run in the stadium with these questions and contests and trivia. You said the word Binky, my friend. Yes. For all the folks here at Pat's Interference, the loyal listeners, the viewers, myself, the producers, could you for us Sunday during a commercial break, when everyone in the stadium is watching you on the Jumbotron, somehow sneak in the word Binky as a wink winky to the rest of us? Would you do that for us?
Oh, it's a done deal. It's just a matter of if you want it done during the JetBlue trivia segment, or if you want it done during the Fast 15, the world's fastest in-stadium game show in NFL history. Whatever it is that you want. I'm going to be slinging prizes on Sunday, and I have to unburden myself of them as quickly as possible as well, because I've got 2 minutes or less, depending on if the referees want to blow up my spot. Binky, done deal.
Binky. I will also blow up shortly within 2 minutes, because I used the word winky, but we're going to forget that. And we will. Let's make it the JetBlue segment.
Are we just going to name all the other ghosts from Pac-Man while we're here?
But people who are going to the game, and I will be watching for this, watch for the JetBlue trivia question and listen for the word Binky. That is Fitzy shouting you out, as I've done sometimes on TV, radio. It's just it's a little secret word game, It's a
great game.
A nod to the folks.
Not the easiest word to sneak in as well, but because I find descriptives are usually a lot easier as opposed to nouns. But
next time I will tell you the story, because this originated when I was doing college radio, like play-by-play for UConn, basketball and football and baseball and soccer and hockey. The time my parents dared me to say coitus on the air, and how your boy, I was going to say, got it in there, said the word without anyone
wove it into the fabric of his description.
Wove it into the fabric of a basketball broadcast. Anyway, we're going to get back on the rails here. Let's wrap up the offense. Drake Maye starting. You got to move the pocket, more shotgun. We don't know Ramondre Stevenson's status. You listed off a bunch of guys who are going to be important. DeMario Douglas. The protection is what it is. It's a very good pressure defense. They're 4 down. They'll get creative on 3rd down, but like the Texans are mostly a zone, do what we do type of defense.
Yep.
Who are the people around Drake Maye, in your opinion, you can go up to 3, that are most important to this offense thriving and supporting him and making sure that he can do whatever he can to give some hope for an upset on Sunday?
Who are the people in your neighborhood that like Mr. Rogers always said, look for the helpers? Believe it or not, first and foremost, I'm not going to just go super easy with like this receiver or that running back. Who are the players, not the people or the players?
People. So I'll give you the top of my list and buy you a little bit of time here. Alex Van Pelt is number 1.
Well, yeah, AVP is number 1.
Number 1. It's the play calling, which encompasses the protection, the predictability of run versus pass, how much play action they're using. They're still way, 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 way down in play action relative to the rest of the league. That needs to go up. Tempo plays it out. Drake Maye likes to run. he's number one in my opinion.
Let me give you my number two then. All right, ready? I'll give you my number two before I'm on board with the plan now. Mike Onwenu, like you need to officially have a put on your big boy pants $19 million game. He has not played that well this year. He has been caught on tape getting just absolutely smoked, not blown by, not beat, smoked on some plays this year. And it's a bit of a surprise. Does he need to drop some weight? Is he not invested? Or could it just be, and this is something Hart and I discussed on the Six Rings podcast as well, do you see everyone's level of play raise anywhere between 5 to 25, even 30%? Because before it was, all right, I'm a professional. I got to collect my check. We'll all quote, do our job, but whatever. To like, hey, I think like, there's going to be some more eyeballs on this. Like, let's restart the season now. It officially begins anew today. Do we see that from everybody? And do we see that from Onwenu? Because whether he's pulling from guard, now that he'd be back at the guard spot, over to his left to set an outsized pocket to give Maye an extra second or two, or just, blasting open some holes on a pulled run left or straight up the gut on student body right. He needs to be a force and factor. I want him to land on all of our respective thumbs up lists on Sunday after the game.
Yeah. I'm going to go with the center, Brian Hudson or Nick Leverett. Like that's the fastest way to get any pressure, right? The line from point A to point B. How do I get there as fast as possible? If you're the Texans, interior pressure is the goal. There was a ton of it against Miami, disrupted Brissett, who's not Maye. But I think at least on the edge, like we could go DeMontre Jacobs and Vidarian Lowe versus Danielle Hunter and Will Anderson. And I'm just going to tell you that they're not going to win those matchups. Like that will be on Alex Mantel to give chips, to give doubles, to run at those guys, to do whatever he can to assist them. And I'm telling you, the soft middle of the Texans, as Andy Bernard once said, the soft underbelly of my upbringing has been my soft underbelly. Like that's the soft middle of the Texans defense is the soft middle. They need to go at them and also protect Maye from blitzes of what's a very good rangy linebacking core. So I would go Van Pelt, the center, and then I'm going to look to Pop Douglas, which is people are probably just sick of me bringing this up, but the dude beats man coverage. He works the middle of the field. Maye has a much quicker release than Brissett. So him being able to fit the ball into tight windows or as soon as DeMario Douglas wins over the middle is going to be huge. Otherwise, you're looking at the tight ends. I just don't think opponents are afraid of the Patriots tight ends, who got a lot of love and attention from Jacoby Brissett. We saw how that went. So it's not to knock Hunter Henry or Austin Hooper. It's just if you ask yourself, of those three players, Douglas, Henry, and Hooper, who would scare a defense the most? The little guy. No?
Yeah, I'll go AVP Onwenu, and then I'll go Gibson, because if he's going to start in place of Ramondre, there's a good chance he's going to get a lot of screen passes, dump offs, and quick, hit in the flat with a quick pass, out of desperation, because Drake Maye's going to be like, they're coming at me quicker than I thought, Paul. Here, hell, hey, yo. Or that's going to be the play design. And Gibson was a wide receiver in college, and he's really good with the ball in space, and he's a nimble runner, and I like him better as the third down back option as opposed to being the primary back. But he may have to carry a Shane Vereen Super Bowl 49 level of 8, 9, 10 catches on Sunday just to keep Maye upright and alive and keep some drives moving. There was also a little thing I read earlier today. One of the aggregators had it on the Twix platform of something you had in your column where one of the Marcus Jones was telling you that he had a play defended perfectly in practice. And when he went up to get it, because he knew he ran the route for the receiver, he goes up and the ball had already been he was expecting basically a Brissett ball. And what he got was a Drake Maye missile, and the ball was already there, and it was thrown tighter and quicker than he anticipated. And that was just sort of something like, hey, all right, this kid's again, that's that sort of thing. There's going to be that extra little zhuzh, that little extra pop that everyone's going to be feeling on Sunday may make the defense and the offense respond.
Yeah, that happened this morning. Posted a little story, just hey, going to guys in the locker room yesterday on defense. Gerard mentioned the arm and the athleticism. We all know that. We're all aware of it. But what does it feel like? What does it look like when you're opposite that in practice? And so Marcus Jones told me some stories. Daniel Quale, Joe Milton told me a story a couple of weeks ago. Somebody else is in there. And it's exactly as you put it. But when this got aggregated, which is kind of a strange choice because the whole thing took 3 paragraphs. It's the lead of the story.
They want hype. That's why people are aggregating everything they can because they want hype.
Yes. But the first comment was, why is this written like a novel? Because it's a story.
It's in a freaking, God forbid anyone reads something long form again. Like, no, I need it this short and this quick.
And then here's the mile-long aggregation, which no one cares about this, but this is my podcast. And then the next follow-up tweet is the story link. Like, just put it in the same one. Like, this is everything that you're copying and pasting starts with someone who wrote it in the first place, and then you copy it and paste it. Anyway, this is the life we live. The Patriots defense is also going to play, despite the fact we've taken now basically 40 minutes to get to them. CJ Stroud has had one bad game this year. It was against old pal Brian Flores, who's giving everyone headaches and getting 3 picks out of Aaron Rodgers in London. And we know the Vikings are doing, it's not a lot of exotic stuff, but their best, sharpest blitz package. They're playing a lot of quarters on early downs. There's no Nico Collins for the Texans, which would make this game very differently. I think the obvious starting point for the Patriots is to shadow Stephon Diggs with Christian Gonzalez, send help in the slot versus Tank Dell. A couple of old Houston guys cutting it up. Marcus Jones, Tank Dell.
What a great what a great matchup that would be, because Marcus, like, Tank Dell was my dream for the Patriots to draft. I wish they heard me last year. They didn't, and now he's thrived whenever healthy in Houston. Marcus Jones, I still say he's better at cornerback than people give him credit for. I wish they would use him on offense or find a way to just get him the ball in his hands where he could actually score, as opposed to preventing teams from scoring. But he had great cover grades his senior year in Houston as well. So I think that, I know we're going to talk matchups that we're dying to see come Sunday, but Gonzo on Diggs and Jones on Dell are both going to be, BYO popcorn.
So, and, I advantage Tank Dell, even though some of the numbers aren't as great as you would think underlying in his second season. You're looking for year 2 jump and this and that. The rush is the bigger question to me, because Brian Flores broke some of the Texans protection rules. And again, short-circuited their offense. They scored 7 points in that game in Minnesota. The Patriots can copy a lot of that because they run a lot of the similar blitz stuff. And so I'm asking you, understanding CJ Stroud has a 104.9 passer rating versus the blitz, how are you doing your best to affect him with pressure? Because you feel comfortable in the back end. Are you just saying, we have to go for it, balls out, like, go get CJ Stroud, who's going to carve us up somewhere somehow, but if we get home, it's a sack or maybe a strip sack? Or do you say we have to play it safe and just bet on the coverage will hang in there long enough and someone gets home?
Well, who are you going to be sending, though? Because, you're down Jabril Peppers for at least this week, if not the foreseeable future. Who knows if he's even ever going to play? Foreseeable future at least, right? And Marte Mapu shows up last week. Now, look, they're playing a 3-legged dog of an offense last week in the Miami Dolphins, but you're down both starting safeties. Duggar's still dinged up as well. Marte Mapu, with his first full game and start in the NFL, did okay by all accounts. He'll have to do even better this week. But you're down so many of your best playmakers on defense. I mean, I know attrition happens. Injuries are part of the game. I get it. Everyone plays hurt from the first snap of the season till they grab their golf clubs and board a plane for the Caribbean in January. I got it. But the Pats defense, just playmaker after playmaker. First, they need to stop naming any future captains, because it's like a Final Destination movie. Second you're named a captain, you get injured. I'd go for it, and I would just trust my guys on islands. I would say, Gonzo, if, like Tyreek Hill said, you're a top 5 cornerback, he's one of those guys now. Here's your next great challenge. Steph Diggs loves to show up the Patriots. He loves hating on the Patriots almost as much as he loves having affairs with 8-month pregnant rap stars. So why not? Don't rub your head, Callahan. These are just facts, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, yep. He's as dirty on the field as he is off of it. And good for him. It's your own life. Make it what you want, okay? It's a short trip around the sun, kid. So Gonzo versus Diggs, great matchup. Marcus Jones, Jonathan Jones, get all the Joneses. Like, what's the name? Is Xavier something or other? I forget the guy who's going to end up having to step up and get more looks. Thank God Nico Collins isn't going to be there on Sunday. And also, I'll ask you this. Who's going to be on Dalton Schultz? Dude's good. He's a solid tight end.
Yeah, I think this is going to fall to Jalen Hawkins, who's been really good, I think, in man coverage so far.
Your boy.
Among those safeties. Yeah. And it's just, there's no great matchup there, right? Because also they're not going to play a ton of man, I don't think, considering their man zone rates versus San Francisco and then Miami. Different personnel, different quarterbacks, but it's the same. The bones of that offense are the same that you see in Houston, right? Bobby Slowick came from San Francisco. it's the same Shanahan-esque offense. And so they say, we want eyes on the quarterback. We're going to commit to the run game. And I think they were better about using their personnel last week, where it was not like, hey, we're going to play base and let you get fast guys all over the place against, 7 defensive linemen and linebackers. But
right.
Dalton Schultz will factor in whether you're playing 3 safeties, and it is Marte Mapu or Jalen Hawkins or just someone covering, hook curl or curl flat zone. Like it's more of an awareness thing. I don't think this will be a single, like we're talking about Gonzalez, Stephon Diggs. It's everyone's got to keep eyes on and be aware of his favorite spots and when they like to get to him, because there's just no one-on-one matchup for him. I'll throw this at you though. So DeMarcus Covington has gotten much better with the timing of his blitzes. They allowed one completion, single one against Miami. And CJ Stroud not only is an outstanding quarterback, but he's someone who I think can get a little bored, like Mahomes did in all the years that Belichick was like, we're going to drop 8 and we're going to play man and we're going to have 2 deep. And you're just going to have to either make a bad decision to fit a window in there or pat the baby in the pocket. And his passer rating against 8-man coverages was under 80 a year ago, 75.5. And it's 87 this year. Now, this year is like tiny samples to throw it out. But I do wonder, Keon White, Josh Uche, pick your defensive lineman. And you show a lot of pressure. Make it look like you're doing what Minnesota did. And then back out of it repeatedly. And hopefully you get a turnover that way where you're so sure on the coverage side. I wonder if the inverse of what they might be expecting actually might end up helping them more.
You would think so. And I did love those defenses where they would sit back and flood the zone and, rush 3, sit 8. That's the Pats fans became most familiar with that because that was the defense that Rex Ryan called in that 2010 divisional upset when the Jets came in and beat the Patriots. That's what helped Tom Brady start seeing ghosts. And then obviously that was made famous a decade.
Well, it was also Matt
Sam
Patricia's
Darnold.
favorite, but I'm not going to mention that in my
Right.
my argument here.
No, it's okay. Listen, I think Matt. Listen, if anyone, I won't say like deserves an apology or a sorry card in an edible arrangement. It's Matt Patricia, just because like his offense looks like the 2007 Patriots compared to what we saw the first 5 weeks with AVP and Brissett as well. They probably should. I just think that he's such a good playmaker and he's still got enough good weapons that they'll find a way to feed and just cut the Patriots slowly but surely underneath, and it'll be death by 1,000 7-yard passes. And if that's the case, then Covington will have to find the right time to either, send a safety or a corner in on a surprise blitz or just trust that Keon White. And if he's in the face of Laramie Tunsil, he's not going to be going very far as well because Tunsil is just that good as well. So move your guys around and try to find your matchup. By the way, shout out Daniel Aquale. Still one of the most underrated members of this team and defenders in the NFL. Guy just brings a high quality effort each and every week, whether they're ranked 8th or 28th overall.
He's talked to him yesterday. Feeling it physically. Dude, but he's about to clear his career high in snaps for a season in a couple of weeks. Like he is a lot more in his body than he ever
they
has.
need reps. They need somebody else to spell these guys, dude. Like the bar, like at the end of this season, I'll be very curious what the ultimate tales that are told of this team are. And one of them is going to probably be, we didn't anticipate just how much we would miss Christian Barmore.
Yeah. I mean, he's a pillar of your pass rush. Like these guys I talk about, they have gravity to them. And then when they're driving double teams, you can hit the opposite side of the protection or a slide, and then you go the other way. Cause just him lining up somewhere goes, oh, we have to account for that guy in a way that no one is talking about. That the 28th ranked defense right now in the league by DVOA. One last thing that I was going to mention, then we'll get to the 3-2-1 quickly. 3 matchups, 2 keys, 1 random wild card thought and a game pick and get out of here is escaping me right now. It's just not a good setup. I should have taken a little bit longer with the defense this week. It's just, let me put it this way. What's your level of confidence just in the whole operation? I think people are down on AVP, but specific to DeMarcus Covington and their ability to coach up this defense, which is on the field a ton against Miami. But you just sit back and go. Before it was like, and Mayo said this himself, we'll always have a good run defense. And personnel is a big part of that. But like, what's your level of confidence that you can safely say, hey, we won't get killed on defense?
I gave these guys a mulligan a while ago when they basically were out half their starters. There are disappointments on this defense, like Josh Uche, who has just been too far upfield and not been able to hold his edge and not been a very effective pass rusher thus far this season. Maybe he should have taken that multi-year deal somewhere else with more money in the offseason, because I don't think he's going to be getting it and could very well be back in New England again this coming year. But when you're down 2 starting safeties, your middle linebacker, who's your defensive captain and the green dot wearer, Christian Barmore, one of the 10 best defensive linemen in the NFL, who just got paid like one as well.
Okay. I like Christian Barmore a whole lot. He is not in the top 10. I think
if this season he would have entered that conversation.
Okay, well, there's conversation. There's being in the top 10. Like, we could do the Myles Garrett. We could do the 2 defensive ends for Houston right now. We could go down the whole.
I think of them differently. Like defensive tackles.
Okay, that's
okay.
Better.
Okay, let me requalify
fringe guy. Yeah. Okay, and I'm not here to hammer you. I'm just saying,
redact the previous statement, Your Honor. One of the best, potentially 10 best tackles.
.com would be like, can we say that? Or pick your favorite blog.
Lazar would be having a defensive lineman mutiny at this point. I've kind of just like they're forced to evolve. And the depth has been stressed and challenged, something brutal. All right, put it this way. Are they as bad as the 28th DVOA ranking overall? I don't believe so.
No.
But are they as good as we thought they would be? No. And there are reasons why. May I also point out in the 3-2-1, however you like to wrap up the pod.
Let's just do it right here.
Here's my sort of wild card. The Patriots defense has a much better game than anticipated. You want to know why? Because they don't spend 41 effing minutes on the field like they have had to in so many of these games. When you're losing time of possession each week, 36-24, 40-20, 41-19, 39-21, these guys are gassed. And forget about the fact that they're already playing more snaps than they're used to. They're just out there, hands on hips, heavy breathing. Thank God it's been warmish so that they're not feeling the icicles like Newport cigarettes in their lungs in the New England weather later in the season.
Speaking from experience.
Yeah, I have 1 or 2 bad decisions back in my day at a South Shore bar. That's something that the Drake Maye effect may stretch all the way into the legs, health, and energy of the defense in the fourth quarter. So that last week when Miami decided to bring in the fullback and just absolutely hammer him to pieces on that touchdown drive, maybe this week they've actually spent a little less time on the field because Drake Maye held onto the ball a little longer.
Yeah. All right, let's go 1, 2, 3 then. My wild card thought is the last time the Texans came to New England, it was the first game I ever covered on the Patriots beat. 2018 season opener. Yeah, I was at Mass Live. Tom Brady threw a touchdown pass to Rob Gronkowski. Deshaun Watson was
game 2 of that season.
Game 1.
Game 1 was the Sunday night game against the Steelers. Oh, that was 2019. My apologies. 2018. Yeah. It was the rematch, and Deshaun was back, but he wasn't quite himself. But in 2017, that particular Sunday with the toe tapping Cooks was epical.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien is still the head coach. Just a lot of people in a lot of different places, and that reminds me of that. Two keys to victory. I said it before. Like, you got to hit Houston in the middle. Antonio Gibson. Like, you talk about draining clock. If you want to tire out Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter, keep them on the field. Like, run at them. You can go a little bit of tempo. But the yards where you're going to find the most on when you're running the ball are going to be between the tackles. I think they have to win there. So you talk about Michael Onwenu, big game. Huge for him. Michael Jordan, the left guard, who's really settling in well and playing really, really well. I think it's been overlooked, and it helps that he's 6'6", 300 whatever pounds. But those two on either side of the center have to get some push, and I think they will. That to me is a big key.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be containing the. I don't expect the Houston run game to be spectacular. Mixon's back at practice. Dameon Pierce is pretty good as well, but they're both listed as questionable heading into this game. I'm sure Houston's going to try to pass first, then hopefully get a big lead and try to drain the clock later on. So it's going to be containing these very sharp run. Like Tank Dell is quick as can be. He is every bit as quick as DeMario Douglas. We already talked about how Steph Diggs loves to screw the Patriots. Robert Woods, old Bobby Trees in his mid-30s, but still bringing it. They have a really, really good receiving core. So the Patriots cornerbacks against the receivers of the Texans, like, this is going to have to be there. I always thought this secondary was going to be much better than advertised. This is the week for Christian Gonzalez to start earning the jersey sales and the playing cards. This is the week for Marcus Jones to show that he's more than a return and a gimmick guy. This is the week for John Jones to get that, to earn the next payday he's probably looking for, whether it's in New England or somewhere else next year.
I think Christian Gonzalez is there personally, but I hear the whole point of like, you want to be one of the best secondaries in the NFL. We get that you're down to your two best safeties. You still got to make it work. So yeah. I'm with you there. 3 matchups. Look, it's just going to be Drake Maye versus the pass rush for me. And in a way that says what Jacoby Brissett did really well in the first 2 weeks was take a terrible situation and not let it get any worse. Okay. His pressure to sack ratio is really, really good. Then it went in the toilet the last 3 games. So how often does Drake Maye, he's going to face a lot of pressure. Okay. What next is really what I'm asking here. How many sacks does he take? How many hits does he take? How many times does he slide versus scoot out of bounds or try to lower his shoulder? He can't do that stuff. Like, he needs to take the bad situations and contain them. So how does he handle that pressure, I think, is my number 1 matchup. And then we'll get yours, and I'll give one, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, that's Drake. Yeah, basically Drake Maye against D'Amico Ryans. Like, how much does he like to, like, he's got, rather than dial up exotic blitzes, I think you're talking about the Patriots dropping 8 and trying to frustrate CJ Stroud or bore him to pieces into making either the wrong read or just taking off on his own. And he's a big dude, by the way. Like, he moves so well for somebody his size. Like, he's sneaky much bigger than you would think he is. And Drake Maye is no Danny Woodhead himself as well. So does D'Amico Ryans just decide to pin his ears back, defensively speaking, and send his horses after Maye? Or does he say, you know what, actually, I want to frustrate him. Let me drop a couple of guys into zone and see if we can trick him into thinking this lineman wouldn't drop back in all of a sudden. And next thing, like, it's that great play Monday night. Who was number 50 for the Saints who dropped back on Mahomes and Mahomes didn't see him, and the Saints guy picked it off. Yeah. I think he thought he was going to have a fat guy touchdown. A thick six. Yes,
the thick
six is one of the greatest lines of all time. Oh my, the thick six. So yeah, that's got to be obvious matchup number 1. I'll give you a sneaky good matchup number 2. If the Patriots are going to be in this one as well, you're going to have 2 guys in a place notorious for swirling weather patterns and wind conditions. We all know Joey Sly can bang home a long one, although last week missing the 33-yarder was not exactly the greatest. How do you do in follow-up to a 63-yarder? Fairbairn can bang it. He can knock home a 60-yarder just as much as the next one. So if you find a way to frustrate Houston and you grind this down to a lower scoring affair than some may imagine, because Houston has a negative point differential on the season because they got their blanks handed to them by the Vikings. So I'm going to go Joey Sly versus Kareem Fairbairn. Like, you can't miss one. Can't miss him.
I don't know what to do with that. Sure. Cosign. Christian Gonzalez versus Steph Diggs also up there. I think we would be. That's
so easy. Come on. I'm giving you the surprise. Yeah. Okay. Diggs versus Gonzo. Yeah, sure. Hunter versus Jacobs. Yeah. Anderson versus.
Here's the ultimate key.
Okay.
If Joey Sly can trick Fairbairn into an arm wrestling contest somehow before the game, there's your big advantage. That man is massive.
Like a keg toss. Or just like something. My God.
Posting 150 dumbbells, the kicker. That's not even like, oh, you've got big arms and a giant chest. That's like, my wrists don't bend if you just sat on my palm. Like, that's
Is there a chance? Is there a chance if the Patriots needed 1 yard that badly, Sly would just come in Devlin style and just get in there? Guy's an animal. All right. I'll tell you what else. I'm just going to do Kendrick Bourne versus legitimately Kendrick Bourne versus I don't know if he's going to draw Stingley, great cornerback, underrated secondary for the Texans as well. Okay. Last week, first game back, got his toes wet, took a couple hits, got tuned up. What did he end up with? 2 catches last week?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
16 snaps. Yep.
Yeah. So hoping that he gets double the snaps. Make a play. Don't just leave it open to Pop Douglas, who we all know is jitterbug fast and can get open in an Italian sports car. But if he takes a big hit,
6 yard, 1 catch.
Oh, he only had one for. Okay, yeah. Yep. So he only had that 1 catch where he got to hear everyone go Bourne. Okay, well now make a difference. Okay, I mean we're still not expecting you to be 100%, but get open, use that veteran savvy, and be that vibe that they need. Make a couple plays. Get his team hyped up, get the crowd hyped up as well. Maintain that energy because What you don't want is the pop of Drake Maye coming out, fist pumping in the crowd, taking his first series of downs. And then like last week where there's a dog walking away in the background, as you saw right there, if you're watching on YouTube. But like that for opening drive last week was like run, sack. And the crowd was like, well, I'm here, but I'm emotionally checked out already. And then they didn't have any reason to get back in.
I'm just here now for the JetBlue trivia question. That's all that they were here for.
And hearing the word Binky integrated into it.
Yes. That's coming on Sunday. I'm excited. I'm going to video this from the press
Deal.
All right. You got to go. You have a dog to pet. Before you do, game pick. Who wins and by how much?
Oh, I hate picking against my favorite football team, but I got to be realistic as opposed to, 35-20 Patriots, LFG. No, realistically speaking, I think the Texans take command in the second half, and it looks like they're going to pull away. Drake Maye leads hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet, leads a miraculous drive where they just basically go schoolyard, brings the game to not within a field goal, but striking distance. There may or may not be an onside kick. There could be a stand where the Patriots need to get the ball back within the last 2.5 minutes. The defense just isn't able to. Texans 24, Patriots 20.
Cool. I mean, that's basically every Texans game this year except for the Minnesota one. Right. I have Texans 27-17. I initially had 16, but I don't know. We talked about 2 touchdowns for Drake Maye.
Yep.
And whether it's QB power or just a regular zone read or quarterback draw, whatever it might be, like they're going to put his legs involved and let him get hit early. So it's like, oh, the nerves are gone. Like I'm in this now.
Didn't he say he's going to have the jitters this week? So what's the best way to get rid of him? Just get him knocked out of you.
Yeah. You need like the Red Sea protection and just everyone just vacates the pocket and you just let him fend for himself, get hit, and then you're good. But yeah, I'm with you. I think the Texans pull away. They show who's a better team in the second half. I do think the Patriots coalescing their offense, who they want to be, the plays that they want to use more of, the players they want to use more of. He's going to help. Bourne's going to play a lot more. And he's coming up next, I will say, in the best 4-minute drill we've done on this podcast. Great segment, starting with Gerard Mayo being pissed at him for advertising and broadcasting his entire life online. And then a bunch of other stuff. But yeah, I think the vibes will be high. They were high here today because you came on and got the quarterback change that the people wanted, some people wanted. And I don't know. This was good, my friend.
It's always a great time, my man. And listen, let me just say to everyone else out there who's still listening, who at first even said, like, I don't know, I don't like this. I don't like this spot. You should have given the kid a softer landing. Life's tough in the NFL. I just want to say, yeah, life's tough in the NFL. And maybe, just baptism by fire, iron sharpens iron, all of your favorite coaching, cliches and whatnot. But just think of it this way. If he can get out there on Sunday, in addition to like keeping the asses in the seats for 4 quarters and getting the crowd and his own team hype and raise the level of play in what could very well be a feel-good defeat that begets another moral victory Monday in Patriots Nation. Think about how much easier some of the games to come. He'll be more prepared for the Jets because he faced the Texans. The Jags may be that much easier because he just held his own against the Texans as well. This may be to his benefit should he survive and should the game go as optimally as possible for Alex Van Pelt, the Pats line, and Drake Maye. He and the team may very well benefit significantly by having to play one of the toughest opponents in the NFL in his first start.
The other side is he gets his ass kicked, and then we have a real problem. But I love the optimism, and I'm not here.
That's where I'm back.
Parade. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. We're back, baby.
We will be listening. Binky, JetBlue trivia segment, pass interference, infiltrating the Patriots in-stadium show. It's Fitzy has done an unbelievable job for years. Love having you on, bud. We need to have a Marzen soon. I have your list of recommendations here. Of course, we're always going to give the old hat tip to vitamin C, our friends Dino down in Plymouth and in Weymouth. And of course, maybe we'll do free agency summit. We've done draft. We've done preseason down there. Some beers and pats and pints. What do you think about that?
We're overdue for a get together down there for sure as well. Just like you're overdue to take a day off and just fill your soul whole with delicious fest beers and Marzens. To you and all the listeners, I say Prost and let's go Pats.
Awesome. Here comes Kendrick Bourne. Thanks, my guy. Wrapping up some more Pats interference with the first 2-time guest who plays for the Patriots. Kendrick Bourne doing an episode back in the summer. He's back, he's playing, and he's ready for a 4-minute drill. He knows the rules. You can't run out the clock. You just got to answer the questions. I'll start the clock. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Pop Douglas, no lie, gave this segment a 5-star review on our way out of the locker room right now. Do you think that we're going to live up to that?
I think so. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. So, starting the clock. Ready, set, go. Question number 1. You share a lot of your life online. Draft parties, date nights. I know what the inside of your house looks like. It's on YouTube. What is the maddest someone has ever been at you for filming while you guys were hanging out?
Drake Maye kind of got mad at me for filming sometimes. Like getting off the Patriots plane, going to San Fran, he was mad at me.
What did he say and what happened next?
He said, man, just get off of social media. I'm tired of you on social media.
Did you stop?
No, I didn't stop. I'm not going to stop.
All right, we're not stopping either. Question number 2. How does a Mayo team meeting differ from a Bill Belichick team meeting?
Kind of more open, more funny. Not as serious. Still serious, but not as serious.
So we've heard Bill crack some decent jokes, and especially in low lights. What's a Mayo joke sound like? How is it funnier?
It's just I can't explain it, bro. It's just funny. You know he's a funny person. Like he's more open in his funniness. Bill was more low key in his funniness.
Gotcha. Speaking of funny, funniest teammate you've ever had?
Funniest teammate, Juwan Bentley.
How funny is he?
He's sneaky funny, so you gotta like get to know him before you can understand.
Okay. You just spent most of the last 12 months rehabbing from an ACL. Most of that, I'm sure, sucked. What was the best part about rehabbing from an ACL?
I was on vacation early.
Like on the beach, because you were in LA.
Yeah. I was on vacation, enjoying LA, son. So that was kind of the perk of it. You know, not playing, I get to just chill.
All right. What is the teammate you would least like to Netflix and chill with your sister and then date?
Pop Douglas.
Wow, Pop again, who has been the answer to this question many times before. Why is it Pop?
I can't trust him yet. I don't know. He ain't shown me. He doesn't have a girlfriend, doesn't have a wife or anything, so I don't know. I don't think he's there yet.
All right, we're going to have to get Pop back on here to answer for this because he's getting buried. Drake Maye is going to start on Sunday. Mm-hmm. What's just a fun fact about him that folks outside the locker room wouldn't know?
I think they know he's a good basketball player. Mm-hmm. I think they saw that. So besides that, I don't know. He's a hooper, so I think he's going to hoop on Sunday.
Have you ever seen him hoop?
I haven't seen him hoop. I only seen the highlights.
Okay. Well, what's he like in a team meeting then? Like, is he funny? We've heard he's outspoken. Just any kind of little Drake Maye tidbit.
I can't really say. He's not really like a jokester. He's like he talks fast, as we see like in his media interviews.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? I wouldn't know anything about that.
He talks fast. You can't really like understand him, but he's not really a funny guy. I'm still learning him, so I could come back to me in a few weeks.
You know what you need to do? You got to have him on YouTube.
I got to have him on YouTube. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Or get him some Born Blessed swag. Anyway, moving on from pimping out your stuff. When my wife asks me to do blank around the house, I can't stand it. Fill in the blank.
Take out the trash.
That's it?
That's kind of it. I can't. Sometimes, like, going to eat, if I'm super tired, she's like, let's go eat somewhere. I can't stand it. But I'll go because it's my wife. But yeah. So those two. Trash and going out to eat when I don't feel like it.
Smart man. We got 3 more. NFL corner, when you beat him on a route for a catch, it just feels a little better. Who is that corner?
I would say Ramsey. He's tough. I didn't beat him last week, but he's tough. It feels good because he's elite.
That's it?
That's it.
No personal beef?
No personal beef. All love.
All right, 2 more. What's advice Kendrick Bourne would have given to himself if you're talking to yourself when you first get to New England, March 2021, all that you've known and experienced since, what would you tell yourself back then?
Take care of my body. I just did bad with that first coming here, and now that I'm doing that, I feel better, so taking care of my body.
Gone out to eat less. Then again, you had 100 yards, so.
Yeah, it gets tricky. But yeah, I probably eat better, take care of my body.
All right, last 2 seconds. Your least favorite media question?
I don't know. How did it feel when you lose?
That one admittedly stinks. But this has not stunk. I think we got another 5 stars from Kendrick Bourne.
5 star, baby.
Appreciate you. Pass interference out.